Today on Teuty's track analysis, we have the track of the day for February 3rd, Geometric Valley by Orbittall. Geometric Valley is a mixed surface track made from the surfaces road, dirt, grass, and plastic. The track has a risky and non-risky finish, and I would recommend 250 speed minimum to reach the risky finish. You can reach the risky finish with a standing respawn, however taking the safe finish in this scenario doesn't cost you any extra time and of course is safer. With a few slightly challenging drifts, transitions, and gears, I would say the track is slightly harder than an average track of the day, rating it a 5.5 out of 10. I completed today's track with a time of 47.887, which was about 0.3 ahead of the author medal time. Overall, I thought the track was pretty good, and on the plus-minus rating scale, I would give it a plus rating. For today's analysis and comparison, we are using the current world record Ghost, and for the second day in a row, it was driven by Elcon, and they had a 46.044, and this is 1.843 ahead of my personal best. The first thing we'll really encounter in today's track will be this upcoming transition here. You really want your left wheels to be perfectly in this corner so you can keep as much ground contact as possible. Right here, I took it a little bit too far to the right. I'll get a small amount of airtime. This will cost me about 7 speed by the time we get to the first checkpoint. Also, upon getting to the other side of this transition, you want to remain pretty straight as you're about to switch gears. So you want to make sure you are straight so you don't get that bad gear switch and speed loss. Moving on to this uphill dirt, we'll see the world record take a much further inside line here. Very hard line to do as well, because as you get to the top of the hill, you got to have a clean, fairly sideways line to get through it cleanly so you don't get airtime. Moving up here a little bit just to show that little bit of sideways you want here, too aggressive straight up the hill, and you will get airtime. Moving up some more into the drift here, I'll be a little bit too aggressive, though it's better than not being aggressive enough, because if you are not aggressive enough, you will definitely crash into that brown rock. On the exit, you also really want to be hugging the grass to get a good upcoming left-hand turn into the grass section. This tight right-hand to left-hand turn is a little difficult, but if you do get it well, you will be hugging this left line right here, and it'll get you a very good line through this grass section. Like usual, I'm a bit aggressive on this drift, but overall, it wasn't too bad. I also want to point out right here is where about the world record gets their 5th gear. Sometimes I would get 5th gear in this road section leading up to the jump, but most of the time I would say I got it somewhere in the plastic in the tunnel section. That takes us to this jump and tunnel section, in which if you watch the GPS, it takes it much higher to the right here, which definitely didn't feel like the correct line. The right side is elevated, but it's not really high enough where landing up there is really worth it. Generally, you want it higher so the player can land earlier and start accelerating faster, but again, it's just not high enough and it's not really worth it. That moves us up to the next drift here, in which I am kind of right down the middle. You really want to be wider here so you don't have to be as aggressive on the drift. After the drift and entering the dirt section, you want to enter pretty high so you get nice early contact and start accelerating faster. And then moving up a little bit more, we'll see the world record get into that upper line, and they'll drive that upper line all the way into the exit from the dirt. This will give them a lot more speed through this section. However, I do get into the wall ride late here, and on the exit, you do want to be on the high side of the dirt. For the upcoming uphill drift, I don't have a ton of advice for you, other than you want to be fairly aggressive on the drift, but it's more of a feel thing. You got to see at what time and what place you really want to release the drift, because you really can't see a ton until you're all the way at the top of the hill. Moving up to the top of the hill, we'll see that if you aren't aggressive enough, if you're too high up to the left here, you will get a ton of airtime and crash out of the course. Coming up to the next checkpoint and into the upcoming plastic section, you want to be hugging the left side here so you can get into the plastic as well, kind of on the left side, and then take a very close inside line in this first turn. Of course, here we'll see that I wasn't aggressive enough and I am a bit down the middle, while the world record is taking that nice inside line. Through this upcoming back and forth section here, you want to be kind of right down the middle and going a little bit down to the left once you get over. Too far to the left before you get to the section will result in airtime, and being too high to the right will also result in airtime. Again, same thing moving up to the checkpoint through that little dip there. Right down the middle you want to be. Too far to the left, again, airtime, and too high to the right, airtime. That moves us up into the risky finish here, which I will take the jump a little bit too high. I almost missed the finish line. Also, you don't want to be too low here, as there is a bunch of stuff on the ground that'll block you from getting in. One of my better runs got ruined by that because I tried to take it super low, and I hit all the junk in front of it. And like I said earlier, if you have like a major crash and need to do a standing respawn at the previous checkpoint, just take the safe finish, as taking the risky versus safe, they're about the exact same time in my testing, so there's no point to challenge the risky finish again from a standing respawn. I'll try to keep today's final thoughts shorter. Overall, I did like the track a lot, though it did turn into like a restart simulator, because at the very start, you have a lot of things that can go wrong. With the starting transitions piece, you can get a bad gear switch, you got the uphill once you get airtime on, and then after that, you got a very tight drift. So overall, just a lot of things at the start to manage, and can very easily one thing trip you up, and just lots and lots of restarts. But again, I did like the track, and if you like this episode, please like the video and subscribe. Check the description for links to my Twitch and Discord, and be sure to check out all the other analysis videos on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on Monday for the next track analysis.